Oh boy. If you watch sports to get away from the train wreck of politics, I might suggest not watching Cardinals baseball for a while because what a train wreck. What's up, everybody? I'm Tara Wellman. This is Birdseeds, and yeah, I said it. The Cardinals are a train wreck. Let's do a quick recap, shall we? The Cardinals will enter the month of August as a sub-500 team. The clubhouse situation is so bad that even Yadier Molina was willing to call out his manager publicly on social media. The front office decided to neither buy nor to sell because what really needs fixing? And now Mike Matheny is calling out the fans for being too bitter to appreciate the cool moments, which are presumably yet to come because, well, they're a sub-500 team. I fully intended to spend most of this episode of Birdseeds talking about this weird dichotomy of fans telling each other how to fan, especially in a season where the baseball isn't really very good. This is a rising trend in the Twitterverse, especially among Cardinals fans, and to a degree, I get it. I mean, the fans are the consumers, right? And money talks. So if the fans don't like what's happening, stop spending your money on a less than acceptable product. Don't go to games. There's a growing contingent of fans who believe this to be the best option, because if the team can still get 3 million plus through the gates with a mediocre team that has no business thinking about the postseason, then hey, why change anything? But the flip side of that argument is also gaining some steam. There are 3 million plus fans who are loyal enough to buy your product even when it's boring at best and infuriating at worst. You owe them something. So I fully intended to break down that whole situation and try to find some balance, because as a fan of the game and of the team specifically, I don't want to stop going to games. And I don't want other fans to tell me how to be a fan. But I do want the powers that be to do something. Anything. That was my plan. And then the Mike Matheny quote appeared. Okay, so let's talk about this. When I talk about the Cardinals, I try to be reasonable and fair. I mean, I'm not a beat writer whose job it is to be impartial, but I try to be rational. I'm not a Fox Sports Midwest field reporter, but I could be, if you're looking. Call me, who needs to maintain a certain level of decorum in order to create a comfortable working relationship with the players and the staff. But I try to consider how what I say could be received. So in that vein, let me start with this. I think I kind of get what he's trying to say. I mean, there are some fans who are overwhelmingly negative. I'll admit, I have people muted on Twitter because I can't handle the drama every day. There's a vocal segment of the fan base that seems like it will never be happy. Like the team could go 162-0 in the regular season, and these folks would expect the team to get swept out of the postseason. I can understand growing weary of that level of negativity. I also understand, thanks to the ever-important context that Derek Gould provided, that Matheny wasn't talking in a blanket statement about all fans, and that he even acknowledged it was great to see so many fans out to support them this season despite some of the struggles. He did say those things. That's me being level-headed and reasonable. But at the end of the day, I'm really just a fan like anyone else, and as such, there's a lot about this that I just can't understand. First of all, Mike, buddy, why are you paying that much attention to the disgruntled fans when the guys in your own clubhouse are openly admitting how frustrated they are with this team right now? I mean, Tommy Pham said on camera that he might actually have a stroke this season because he's so frustrated with their inability to win consistently. I hope he was joking, but knowing how intense Tommy Pham is, I can't really say. Lance Lynn was asked after Sunday's game if he thought the team was on a better track, and after a lengthy pause, he basically said, I mean, this week was better. And Colton Wong, in the same article with the Matheny quote, said that the guys are just as frustrated and likely more so than the fans with the product that they're putting on the field. And they're the ones who, at least to some degree, have a level of control over that. The fans can only sit back and watch as the team fails to claw back to the 500 mark again and again and again. So suggesting that those fans, who continue to watch anyway, are too bitter to appreciate the cool moments just isn't fair. Let me remind you of the magic of Magneuris Sierra. How about the hometown hero Luke Voigt making his debut? Or the complete games from Michael Wacha or Carlos Martinez? And remember that one time Dexter Fowler led off his first game back at Wrigley with a no-doubter over Jason Hayward's head? And then there was that really cool Harrison Bader debut, where his dad drove him from Memphis to St. Louis and then watched as his son scored the winning run in walk-off fashion. I mean, I often joke about my own poor memory, but I seem to recall pretty significant fan reactions to those cool moments. Here's the second problem I have. Those fans, even the negative ones, are your customers. If I go somewhere and order coffee, and I get watered-down tea instead, I'm not gonna be okay with that. And I'm certainly going to expect the next time I pay for coffee, I'm going to get coffee. If I continue to get watered down tea 5 out of 10 times, I'm gonna get irritated, assuming I don't just quit buying your product altogether. Want me to come back? Then give me what I paid for. That's not an unrealistic sequence of reactions, whether we're talking about coffee or baseball. And here's the third thing, and this one really gets me. You weren't even there in 2011, Mike. You have no business telling fans how they did or didn't feel about that magical but completely unpredictable run. I mean, any fan base of any team that's 10 and a half games back the last week of August likely isn't thinking World Series. At that point, they're probably not attending games with the intention of figuring out where they want to sit during the postseason. And that reality doesn't strip them of their sense of loyalty, nor does it eliminate their ability to celebrate the improbable nature of sport when crazy things do happen. Sports fans are a unique breed, much like the athletes themselves to some degree. I mean, they're not typically fans because they just really like the team colors, or they enjoy eating overpriced hot dogs in 100-degree heat. And underneath all of that, there's a shared quality between the fans and the players. Competitiveness. The athletes who play the game want to win. The fans who watch the game do too. The athletes who play the game are emotionally invested enough to be frustrated when they don't win. The fans who watch the game are too. Someone's gonna freak out and think that I'm making a direct comparison, saying that the players and the athletes are exactly the same. Please understand what I'm trying to say. Now, I get being annoyed by the overreaching and in many cases, uninformed criticism. But a person in Mike Matheny's position has to be better equipped to handle that. Listen, I'm really glad that there aren't thousands of people expressing their opinions on how I do my job every day. But I work in an industry where that's actually a very real possibility. I mean, every time I put up a video or express an opinion in writing or conduct an interview in a public setting, I'm opening myself up to overreaching and uninformed criticism. Right or wrong, it comes with the territory when you're in the public eye and people are invested in what you do. Mike Matheny might not like what some fans are saying about the product on the field, but those fans don't like the product that they're paying to see. So what's a shame to me, Mike, is that this season of Cardinals baseball has deteriorated so far so fast that now you're dragging these fans through the mud because they're invested enough to care. Again, I get it. The negativity is exhausting, but this is not a good look. It would be much better to simply say, look, we really appreciate these 3 million plus fans for sticking with us. We're gonna do everything we can to live up to the expectations they have for us on the field and move on. Besides, I think this week made it obvious that Mike Matheny has a lot more on his hands to worry about than a group of angry Twitter fans. Let's be real. I'm Tara Wellman, and maybe we can actually talk about baseball next time on Birdseeds. If you missed last week's episode, go ahead and click right here to go straight there. And if you want to make sure that you never miss an episode of Birdseeds, click subscribe.